What's going on, guys? Today on this Shoky Transformers review, we're looking at the final Dinobot that I have from the Planet X line, and it is Planet X Quirrinus from their Fall of Cybertron line of toys. Now, I have been sitting on this one for a while, for some reason. I really wanted to get Apocalypse done first, because it's awesome. But I have had this one. And of course, it is their take on Dinobot Slag. And I say slag because I don't care what the modern interpretations say. And I apologize if the British viewers take offense to it. His original character name is Slag. I understand it's a term. This is a bad name for somebody over there, but it is what it is. His name is Slag, or they call him Snarl in some instances. I don't call him that. His original name, Slag, that's what I go with. Sorry. But anyways, let's look at the box. So here, you of course get the picture of his chest. You get some nice light up areas there. Of course, Planet X Quirrinus right there. And this box is surprisingly square. Like, this is actually a fairly, hefty, thick figure. So of course you come to this side and you sort of see one of his arms and stuff there. Ages 15 plus. Please check instructions for you. Oh, hey, I'm right in the middle of that. And not suitable for children under 3 years old. Ages 15 plus. Yay. Warning. Got it. Come to the back. Hard to see, but push it back. You get Planet X Quirrinus, and you get his full body shot there. The horns look like they're lit up and everything like that. Kind of wish it could more or less do that, but it's a pretty good shot there. And of course you see the kind of the lavish destroyed part of Cybertron where he was created. And of course you come to that side, you got another arm. Come to the bottom, you got nothing. Come to the top, you got nothing. Let's open it up right quick. Open the box. Now this one I was really looking forward to because Slag was always one of my favorite Dinobots. I love me some Triceratops. There we go. Nothing's coming out of the box. And, of course, you get the little plastic prison. So you see the two little areas for his swords and his guns here. And if we can get it to come out, you can see some very nice detail in there. And it actually does say Planet X Quirrinus. I gotta turn it up a little bit. I think that's more or less his backpack. Kind of hard to see. Yeah, I think that's pretty much just his backpack there. And, nothing else, just box. And, of course, you do get instructions. And as usual, the instructions aren't great, but they're not bad. He's not a terrible transformation, but there's certain things that you just really need to pay attention to, and of course I will be going over that, especially down here in the legs and this tail. They just don't tell you. I had to figure a couple things out to get it done properly. But yeah, and there's a couple of small nitpicks I have with this guy, but we will look at that as we go. Yeah, there's never anything on the back. It's just the thing. And of course, because Planet X, you get the character card. Now this one feels slightly flimsy, don't know why. And we've gone back to not really being able to see the character too well, but it's not bad. It's the same image that was on the back of the box. Planet X Quirrinus, Come to the back, you got strength. His strength is about that. His intelligence is pretty small, that's true. Speed is right there. Endurance, rank, meh. Courage, meh. Fire blast should be a little higher, I think. Skill is capitalized for once, and it's mid-range. So he's more or less a really good mid-range character. But let's go ahead and get him out of the box because, well, it's more entertaining than a card. So, let's get after it. Alright, and here we have Slag out of the packaging. Actually, not really, because he's in Dino mode. Because it comes in robot mode in the box. But I wanted to do from Dinobot to robot mode. And this guy's pretty neat. We'll do a quick look on the details. The paint is actually very nice. You got some red along with the pink, the Cybertronian glow color. You get some orange translucent for the horns and for these bits up here. Although, because the rest of his spikes are just painted, I would have actually preferred these just be painted. They didn't need to be translucent. But he's actually pretty good. He's very, very thick and chunky. Look at his tail. That's awesome. Now they got some of the Dinobot proportions, or dinosaur proportions, pretty close. So you've got the semi-stubby, short, front and rear legs, the not-so-long tail just there to balance. It's pretty cool. But it's not exactly a Triceratops, obviously, because he's more Cybertronian. But the horns here, of course, they come out more like a bull. And you do get these extra spikes around his frill, which is pretty neat. Not gonna lie, I like it. The paint is actually pretty good, with the exception of one spot right here due to the way he transforms. And I complained to Planet X about this, and they did not reply. That came off just from transforming, and so it's just not great. You don't want to spend $100+ on a third-party figure here and watch the paint come off. It's not happy. And I'm not gonna lie, after having this guy now for a few months, he's got some small issues. Like this leg has become really loose. Not the foot, but the actual leg. You see it flopping around. I could probably tighten up that ball joint a little bit. And that's only a fairly recent thing. Also, I don't know why, maybe it's just the way his head was positioned, but this particular spike has been encountering that leg fairly easily. But we will cover more of that when we get to actual Dino mode. I'm sorry, when we get to robot mode, and we'll show off a little bit more of that. I'm already not looking forward to transformation on this guy, guys. But let's go ahead and bring in some fellow Dinobots. So here we have Snarl, the nice Stegosaurus type there. And they're fairly similar in size, just his tail is significantly longer. Of course, the head is a lot smaller. And we can bring in Swoop. Hopefully he'll stay on his stand. Probably not. He seems to be being difficult lately. Got Swoop there. There's the camera. That's pretty awesome. These are actually a very good looking set. Now, Sludge and Grimlock, I believe, are being re-released fairly soon, because I have to have those. I just do. Now, I don't really care that much about Paddles, but I might get him just because he's a neat figure. But that's going to be it for those. Let's go ahead and get these guys out of here. Now, for accessories, because he does have some, then they do, can be applied in Dino mode. May as well show them off. You do get a couple swords and a couple guns. Yay. Kind of throw them down. Scooch back. Now, I really dig these guns. These things are really, really nice molded detail. So you even get his bullet rounds right there in that extra chamber. Now, whenever I get around to messing with this guy, whenever I go to put the repro labels on, which I do have, I believe, right here. So you got the repro labels there. Whenever I put these on, I'm going to do some paint detail work to these guns, because these hoses, these bullets, stuff like that, they need paint. So that's pretty cool. Now, one interesting thing about this, these come apart, unlike, I think, anybody else's so far. So you can pull the gun off, and you can just completely take the gun apart. It's a neat thing. Part of me was hoping that maybe there's other ones out there you could take apart and like recombine into whatever. But it is what it is. You do get his swords. They'll come, obviously, more into play in robot mode. Now, these things are fairly unique in the fact they're the only ones who get a sheath. This is so cool. You can just... It's a very snug fit, but you can slide that out. And you do get... It looks very Roman to me, I think. It's kind of a short sword, not much of a guard. I think it's a little bit Roman. I could be wrong. I do like it. Translucence, it doesn't want to focus on it. But it looks pretty good. Actually, I like the look just with the sheath. I don't know why. I think it just looks nice. And you get a big peg and a small peg. So the big peg is for obvious reasons, because you have a very big hole right here in his back legs. So you can just plug that in that way. Or if you really want to be that guy who wants to charge into battle like so, you can have a sword there to plow through your enemies with. Of course, double swords. Yeah, I like the details. Look at that. That's pretty. Now, the other thing is you can use the guns in his Dino mode. but it is a little troublesome. So you take the big handle that would normally go in the hands, obviously, and you can insert it right in there. However, the main issue is the way the gun is designed. It pretty much can only point straight up. And unless he's doing some like long distance shelling, I don't think that's doing him really good. Now the problem being is this front ridge is a little bit higher. So that's kind of how you end up. But I did find with Mr. Snarl here, his guns are actually perfect for this. They work really well on him, mind you. So you can take those off and actually swap them with Snarl, because these guns don't interfere with Snarl's legs hardly at all. Little harder to put in. There it goes. Okay, so you can swap these guns out, these big kind of triple barrel shotguns. And because there's nothing in the way, these work really well over here on our buddy Slag. I like this. So this is actually how I keep him. I have these two weapons flip-flopped. I think I sort of mentioned it when I did the Snarl review. I don't recall. Somebody had to go back and check for that. But come on, get in there. It's the same size hole, but for some reason the handle doesn't want to go. There it goes. So there you have the different guns. I think these look better on Slag, plus they work. That's the important part. They actually work. Now you can do sword, gun, combo, whatever you want to do. I like those. Now you can't plug... No, okay. Just had to look. Now let's look at articulation, because he does have some in this mode. The head can actually move up and down, though it's on a very, very loose hinge. And you see he's got no neck. It's actually all tabbed in up here. Now one thing that's neat, because of the way it's designed, you can get head tilt. So you can get a very inquisitive looking, Triceratops. That's pretty cool. Now his mouth does move. It's on a weird complex hinge that actually will move that head. So you can open and close the mouth like so. You can do it just on that front flippy hinge, if I can even get the mouth to open. That is one issue. There's like no room to get a thumbnail in there. Come on. Come on. He's being difficult. He's being a very difficult little dinosaur. Like that. Being very bullheaded, as it were. The frills can move out a little bit. They're slightly spring-loaded. So if you want to maybe adapt them a little if you want, you can bring them out a little bit bigger. It is what it is. It's all kind of how you want to play with the toy. You want to display it. It's yours. Do with it as you please. Now, the front legs, as I already said, we got a ball joint with a cutout, kind of, right through there. So you get some forward movement that interferes with the frill. If you put it back the way the transformation tells you to, you're good. Now, he does sort of have a double jointed elbow. So there's a joint there and a joint down here. So you can sort of, or I guess technically at the knee at this point. So you can decide whether you need the leg like so, or if you want it a little bit further down. The transformation, or at least the instructions, sort of show the shoulder needing to be like this, but I like it tilted just a little, so you get the foot a little bit further forward, like so. Now this is just barely clipped on right here, just flip-floppy. It is basically that. Now you do get thigh rotation right there, but it doesn't really play into Dino mode that much, unless you really want the leg to be turned out like that, which, it's fine, but you can also do it with the shoulder joint. You don't necessarily have to do it with the thigh slash bicep rotation. So you can do something like that, get those feet turned out, the legs turned whichever way. So he can pose actually fairly well in Dino mode between the front legs and back legs. The back legs also have double joints, almost triple, because you have the ankle joint too. So you can bend the knee however you want, you can rotate all of it, and because these are, well actually these will be tucking away, they're not actually robot feet related, but you can do some very low squat legs if you really combine these joints. Actually, they are part of his feet, not necessarily part of his legs, part of his feet, and you do get the cutout there, so if you really want to, you can play with it however you want. You can make them very tall, like so, which is really, really weird. That's not how he would walk, and it also just looks really funky. So I like to get just a little bit of bend, that big chunky foot right there. Now I wish the tail had anything, but it doesn't. It's just big clipped together parts. It is like that. Now one cool thing is you get his like big thruster, so when he's ramming into stuff, this thruster is like just shooting out fire, and he's plowing through everything. I think that's actually like his special ability in the game, is he would just boost and crash through stuff. So all the Dinobots had their own little special ability as you played as them. So you can get a really low down like ramming look like that, and tilt the head very forward, or you can tilt it where you're smelling the flowers like way out there. You can do that. Get the leg. Oh yeah, by the way, very, very pointy spikes there. Be very careful. Those are very pointy. These are very pointy. Go ahead and warn you there that that is a problem. Now, if you do it that way, it looks like a little more awkward, but it is what it is. And just, they're a little fiddly, so kind of like pick your poison, pick your pose, and just let it be. So, shall we get into transformation? I guess we don't have a choice, do we? Alright, so for transformation, we're going to come down to the legs, not legs, come down to the butt, the butt and the tail. Okay, so these just kind of out of the way, these fold those flat, and we're going to come down to the bottom, and we're going to try to pull this out. There's just, these are tabbed or clipped right into those grooves, so we want to just yank it until it comes out. Now this is one of the parts that you absolutely have to make sure is facing the right way. See how the kink is like this, but you have this one high spot here on these little arms. If this is not facing this way, you cannot get that all the way in there. So you have a complex series of hinges between here, 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 and here that all collapse to make that fit. And it has to be perfect or you won't get that clipped in. And since it just holds the entire butt together, you're going to want to fix that. So come down to the rest of the tail, split it in half, and just let it chill for a second. Come up here to this, just lift it up out of the way. Come to these little bitty winglets. So that's a reference to the G1 version where the entire side would open up. Obviously, don't do that here. Now, we pull that up and out of the way. We can separate the legs. And go ahead and flip it down. Go ahead and pull this one. Flip it down. And now we have a giant mess. Because you're always going to end up with a giant mess. Okay, where am I? Oh yeah, I forgot about these. You got to move these guys down. They become the knees. They just tuck away underneath. Also, very, very sharp. You can poke yourself very badly. I forgot you need to rotate these down past the knee. Which part's going to go first? I think it's this. Okay. So we come here, and very much like the way Snarl had it, you've got a cool double swing hinge there. I'm going to come down, straighten out the foot as best you can. Wait. What is it doing here? Sorry, I'm confused myself for a second. Rotate that all the way around. That was in the way. I was like, what the heck? Why is it not going? Okay, now you take the foot. You got to tuck all of that leg as far forward as you can and swing the foot forward to fill in that gap. If you don't got it right, you will know. If you don't have it right, don't got it right. I don't know, something. There's words. Words are involved. Oh yeah, rotate that down. Okay, let's see here. So you gotta do a complex flippy, collapsy motion here. Oh, and the tail. You need to tuck in there. My bad. I haven't transformed this guy in a little while. So what you're gonna end up with is you see that hole right there and that tab right there need to come together in a happy formation. And when you get it, that's what you end up with. So really super thick legs. So leave that like that. Let's see here if we can get the other side to cooperate. Because you got to make sure this thing isn't in the way, but it's also in the right position, or else it'll get stuck. And you don't want that. Okay, rotate at the thigh. Click that down. Tuck that all the way around. That was a nice little swivel motion there. Flip that up there. Rotate this. Tuck that away. Where am I? So that should be like that. Okay, there it is. Okay. That's where that double swing around hinge comes into play, guys. Okay. And then tab that all together. And there we have legs. Now, we tuck this guy up inside here. Leave the little winglets, actually tuck the winglets in like so. Okay, now we need to come to the chest. Grab right here where under the little fake mouth technically is. And pull that down. Now, well, since we're here, take these little bits for the frill, tuck them under. Now on this very complicated set of hinges, you have to flip all of this guy around. And we'll look at that in a second. I got to open the mouth. You have to make sure the mouth, if you can see, got to make sure the mouth is in fact open, because that's the best way to do this. So we tilt the robot head back up, make sure that clicks into place. The shoulders, you're going to rotate the armor. If it'll, why is it not rotating? Oh, you got to come up with it. My bad. All right, so you can see there's two holes there and a tab there. In the lower position, it's the Dinobot, and the upper position is a robot. So flip that up there, and then tab the chest back in place. I think just like Swoop had, more or less. Now you can rotate the armor around, which you should be able to. It's not cooperating with me. There it goes. It sticks a little bit. So the shoulder armor is on a little ball joint there with a cutout. Come down to the forearm. Flip it up. Just as usual, we have the hidden hand, which is kind of a pain to get out. There's no good tab to actually get to that guy. There's just this little part. That's about the only place you can actually grab that hand to pull it out. And the whole time, be wary of the fact that it has these very, very sharp spikes on the back, or else you'll end up spiking yourself and yelling curse words and things like that. And you don't want to do that, because, you know, it's a fun toy. You don't want to have to curse because of it, right? Alright, now this is probably the most complicated part, because you have a ball joint cut out up here on a hinge, a double hinge here, and all this has to fold back there, while this mouth drops down right there. And they all have a kind of a complex way about this. And you also have these here need to go into those slots. And this is also how this got so scratched up, just the way that ends up falling into place. So let's see if I can get it on one try. Okay. I do believe I got that in one try. Excellent. And then just adjust the horns slightly. And there we have Fall of Cybertron, Slag in robot mode. Now in robot mode, you do get quite a lot of the same features, but now you can see his chest, and you can see he does have quite a lot of translucent orange parts right there. So he's just begging, really, to get an LED system inside there, or something to make him glow. That's awesome. You also get to see these new little pink Cybertron energy areas on his thighs, which, you know, he didn't really have thighs before. He had robot thighs, so those don't count. You get all of this mess kind of hanging out the side here. It is what it is. You get these ginormous calves. He didn't skip calf day at all. In fact, it looks like he took a few other people's calf days. That's just ridiculous. And then the foot itself is only up here. So this is also a delicate balancing act, because he doesn't necessarily have heel spurs to work with. So you're kind of stuck with tilting it only on his front feet, or that happens. He wants to fall over backwards. Now you can, if you're really inclined, go ahead and scooch it way far forward. It's doable, so now you're getting a little bit more toe hanging out, but you get just a little bit of heel spur. Just a little, not much. It's not great. So you get a giant foot, kind of like that. But now his toes are, if you guys can't see this, his toes are sticking out immensely. But that's a better way for him to stand. It's really hard to balance between standing on those toes, bending the knees, and everything, just trying to get it right. But, you know, you'd think with giant feet he'd actually have no problem standing, but in fact he has difficulties. Now you do get a really nice head sculpt that I can't see on my camera for some reason. The camera keeps wanting to slope down. So you got some nice dark gray molding, and then some nice red paint right there, and some pink on his cheeks. Sorry, this giant tooth is in the way. So in the old days, his head was inside the dino head, and you would fold the mouth down. So this is simulating the mouth opening like that back in the day. And you do get some really good light piping. I just can't get the light in there. There we go. That actually looks really good. That was a good angle. Activated. You also get some very nice molded detail that we can now see right in there. Nice hoses and stuff like that. It looks really good. Same thing on the side of the head. You get some molded detail right through there. You can also see detail that was, you know, previously inside the mouth. You can see some nice vents or just groovy area right through there. You do get some nice torso molding right through there. Not as delicate as, say, like Sumanus was or Prime was, you know, with heavy detail, but it looks really decent. I like that. Same thing, leg molding here. We didn't really take a look at it, but he's got some phenomenal molding on the outside of his calves here. So just wires and pipes and everything. All this big area that'll all get Energon stickers whenever I get that far. And probably a little bit of paint just to, you know, change that up a little. I want to detail it just some, you know. They don't need to go overboard. Let's see here. If I kick the foot all the way back. Yeah, that's how you end up with that foot that doesn't work. So you got to go all the way forward with a giant foot now. And then you do get a giant Triceratops backpack for your troubles. So the spikies are hanging off here, and you got the cool big horns. Now you gotta have the horns tilted up just to get the cool look. So he has horns regardless of what mode he's in. Now he does still retain the cool double elbow joints here. While you can't get a ton of bend out of them, you can get different levels of bend. So you can do the bottom elbow, which gets you about to there. You can do the top elbow, which can give you a nice 90-degree angle there, and just sort of tilt it that way. Shoulders move up and down. You get some nice rotating points here, but you're going to scratch your paint if you're not too careful. This shoulder paint I'm always really worried about. The head, of course, does rotate all the way around, and you can see the big plastic open part of the back of his head. It would also do with an LED, which would look pretty cool. The hips are actually very lightly ratcheted, but they're there. You can see the ratchet, you're not going to hear them though. And no squeaks. There's not really any squeaks in this guy. Even in the knees. So you get a single jointed knee, but because of that big old tail, you can't bend it too far. And you're not going to get him in a running pose. It's just not going to be doable. But he can actually go very, very far and do a perfect Jean-Claude. He's got some very nice open legs there. Come on. And he does get thigh rotation, or upper knee rotation, kind of, due to the nature of his transformation, which is always good. Give you some nice posing if you can bend things all in the right direction at the right time. That's the hard part. There we go. You got to turn the leg just a little bit. Get him to stand. He'll rest on his laurels, more or less. And you do actually get, if it'll let me do it, might not now, but you do get torso rotate. There it goes. Okay, so you do get some midsection movement there. That's good. So you can get him in a cool pose like this. And of course we can use his weapons here. So we have his swords. That's what these smaller holes were for. They can plug in on his thighs. Gotta love some good thigh sword action. Like so. So he can actually arm up very similarly to Sumanus, or Snarl, whichever one you want to call him. And the guns, which of course these are Snarl's guns, but yeah, the point is still there. They plug into the hands very nicely. The hands actually do open. So you do get the open hand, so if you need to slide something else in there, you can do it. But this is a great way to more or less arm him to the teeth, to the beak. I don't know. They don't. Dinosaurs don't really have teeth. Well, these don't. So now he can point two guns directly at somebody. Okay, that's not nice not to point guns at people. Sorry. Now he can point them at the sky. It's fun. I like this figure. If it wasn't for the paint issues, you know, where it's wearing off at the back, and for the strangeness of the feet, like just they're massive, but they don't stand that well. That's just, it's kind of a shame. But otherwise, I really like this figure. Slag was always pretty much my favorite. That's very awkward. There we go. Now, speaking of favorites and all the other bots, and here he is with his Dinobot brethren all in robot mode. And they are a good looking bunch, even though you can't see Swoop's head. There we go. Now it's cool that they differentiate and they give him the red visor instead of the blue like these two guys have. And it's fairly G1 accurate as well. He did have red eyes and then blue eyes. So if they gave us another option, it'd be kind of cool. And just for one more comparison, let's bring in Prime so you can see how he measures up. And you can see Prime is a little bit taller and potentially a little bit beefier. But I love all these figures. They're just all really, really cool. You guys know I love Planet X at this point. And for the last comparison, the last thing we looked at from Planet X, the giant apocalypse. There we go. So, little bitty normal Dinobot, giant thing. Oh, these things are so cool, guys. So that's going to be it for this review, guys. And yeah, I definitely recommend this guy. He does have a couple quirky issues. The feet are a little bit weird. The shoulder issue there, the paint chipping. They're all fairly minor, I guess, just depending on what your preferences are for your toys. So, I mean, I've complained about it, and I didn't get an answer, and I'm kind of sad about that. But yeah, I do like it. It's fairly good price, I believe, somewhere in the 102 to 106 range. I got mine from Big Bad Toy Store. I'll include a link down below. There should still be a few of these guys around. Same thing with any of the other ones that I have. But that's going to be it. I hope you have enjoyed this review. I like doing Transformers reviews, just the transformations, pain in the butt. And sadly, that's the last Planet X figure I've got for a while. But we still have to apply the repro labels to them, so we'll come back for those later. But make sure you check out all the other Planet X reviews in the Planet X playlist. And I'll catch you guys later. And remember, as always, keep on nerding.